In the late 1970s, the professional boxing world was being entertained internationally by the flamboyant likes of Muhammad Ali, Julio Cesar Chavez and Sugar Ray Leonard. But at the grassroots level in England, far from these lofty heights, a new name was being whispered in the changing rooms, gyms and rings. That name was Eddie Copeland.
I want to sort of be like Eddie Copeland.
He was awesome as a box fighter. Nobody could get near him in Britain, really. He was the number one. He was the top competitor in Britain. You sat down and watch him fight, and you knew you're going to get your money's worth, every penny of it.
Eddie was one of the best.
Everybody went to watch him. He was the first guy in amateur boxing could put them away with body shots. If he hit them, they went down to some tune, I tell you.
I personally thought that he would have won a world title.
Unfortunately, what had happened.
Suddenly, you're nobody.
You can't believe it, and you're thinking,
What am I going to do now?
I cried buckets.
Eddie Stacey, well, what a fantastic film that was. Absolutely cracking. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't want to spoil it for anyone in case they don't know the story, so I'm not going to talk too much about the film. We are going to put details on there later on where people can get hold of that. But I don't know how long it lasted, about 45 minutes or something?
yeah, about 40 minutes of film.
And just what a fantastic story. But it's not a story, it's real life, it's your life and your story as well, isn't it?
Correct, yeah.
Eddie, I mean, I met you, I think about 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, because I film a lot of the amateur fights, and you're the compere and you do the MCing on all the shows. And now, probably a lot of the kids that you're introducing into the ring don't even know that you're an ex-ABA champion and a highly touted professional fighter. It must be because probably they don't, do they?
No, they don't, unless their coaches who were around at the time are able to tell them, because I do get the odd one come up and says, oh, I believe you won an ABA title and things like that. And a couple of them do ask me about whether I boxed and so on and so on. Well, so a bit of information filters that way. But
the only way I can describe you as so people can understand how good you were is by the fact that when I was on tour, I think we went away with Ricky Hatton, back in the 90s it was. Ricky was only 14 years old, and me and a few of my mates were talking about young Ricky, saying how good he is. And at the time there was another kid on the scene who was winning everything, and I think a year later from this conversation that I'm having, he ended up winning the ABA, I think in 1992. There was a kid called Darren McGarrett. And the coach, one of the referees who come over to look after all the kids who were on this tour, was Eddie Egan. Jimmy Egan's brother, and he was the referee there, and I was sat one night chatting to him, asking him who was his favourite fighter, and your name come up, Eddie Copeland, and I always remembered it because he was really, he said, you know how much I used to think of Darren McGarrett and how good he was. He said, well, you were the original Darren McGarrett, and now a lot of people don't know who Darren McGarrett is, but when Ricky Hatton was coming along, the way people used to describe Ricky Hatton was, he's like the new Darren McGarrett. So, you know, it's like that baton's been passed along. So people, to appreciate how good you actually were, that was, you know, you can't get a better
compliment than that.
Isn't it? You know, he was
quite proud to be associated in their company. So.
And everyone said that, you know, who I knew in that era, you know, everyone, because they were all a little bit older than me, and they all used to speak about you so highly. But a fantastic story. We're not going to go into all that because this is well worth watching this play. We're going to put some details on there later on how they can get to watch it and how purchase or whatever. But the story goes on, because Stacey next year I went on to win an ABA title as well.
That's right.
And I think you're only father and daughter team to do that.
That's correct, yeah. First ones.
And she's quiet, which is very rare.
You've not stopped talking yet, that's a bloody question. Supposed to be an interview. Sorry, listening.
Well, but I just
carry on.
I just wanted to set the scene because people don't appreciate how good your father was. I mean, he was a phenomenal amateur with the style that everyone wanted to watch and see. And now you're following his legacy after having a fantastic footballing career. 29 years old, you decide to become a professional, an amateur boxer.
Yeah, I mean the opportunity wasn't there as a kid when I was a little girl, when sort of dad and granddad had me in the gym all the time, and despite doing everything that everyone else did in the gym, all of the training and going to the shows and everything else, and I would have done the sport, you know, if I had the opportunity, but obviously back then it was banned for women, so that opportunity wasn't there at that time. So I went into football, which I loved as well. And I don't regret that because I had a fantastic, you know, load of experiences through that. But yeah, when I'd finished, done everything I wanted to do in football, and I came home when I was 29, and I'd never lost that burning desire to know if I could have done it as a boxer, you know, and to know what I could have achieved. So I'm very thankful that I've had that opportunity, and I've still got it. So and obviously, Dad was a massive part of that. In invested so much time and energy, particularly in the early days, trying to help me learn the basics and, you know, make sure that I learnt as much as I could really, and I was ready when my debut came along 6 years ago.
And in that 6 years you progressed pretty quickly because you got onto the England squad, you won, was it silver medal at the European Championships, 3 ABA titles.
Yeah, and I think what helped me is that I had been in the gym since being a little girl, so I had all the basics from when I was little, and during my football career, every closed season in the summer, I always boxed. That's what I did as my fitness, but also because I loved it. So it's not like I'd, you know, people say started boxing when I was 29. I didn't. I'd been boxing, you know, all my life in different ways. I just hadn't competed until then. So, but obviously it's a lot different training and competing. And Dad helped me make that transition from, you know, just hitting the bag and pads to actually learning, you know, to hit and not get hit.
I videoed you on one of your fights up down at Bromley.
That's right, yeah.
And against a big tall Swedish girl, was it?
Yeah, that was when I was at the weight above back then, and she was just massive. When we started before the bell, I think she could probably have hit me from one corner to the other. It was like a boxing octopus. She had the longest arms I've ever seen, but it was a good learning curve for me. And she'd had loads. She'd had about 75 bouts, and I think that was my 9th or something. And then afterwards I said to Dad, like, oh, you know, she's had 75 bouts and been like a junior world champion and that. And he was like, yeah, I know, and she's won 68 of them. And I was like, did you not think of mentioning it? He went, well, not before it. So luckily, I mean, that shows that he had a lot of belief in me. He would never have put me at risk, obviously safety-wise. But he knew.
You lost on a split decision.
Exactly, yeah, and that showed the belief he had in me. And we always took fights like that where it was safe, didn't we? Because we wanted to know where I was at, and we didn't want to play it safe and just, you know, have easy fights, so to speak. We wanted to challenge ourselves and see where we're at, and that's stood me in good stead.
But shortly after that, that's when you got picked for England, didn't you? And then, like I say, everything changed, and like I say, then you've made the decision now. I think we're just over 3 weeks away from you making your professional debut down at is it Middleton Arena?
Yeah, that was a decision I made last year after a really bad injury and a mistake that was made in surgery. And that took a very, very long time to heal. In the process I missed the European and World Championships, which as an amateur female at a non-Olympic weight, that's like the pinnacle of the world and the Europeans, because there is no Olympic or Commonwealth weight in my weight category at welterweight. So that was pretty much my last chance as an amateur to do that, and it was you know, very, very shattering to say the least. And I felt like I needed a new challenge, but also I want to pave the way for other women and girls in my sport and all sports really, you know, just to show what can be achieved from going from being in the gym as a kid and it wasn't, you know, even legal for us to box, to now having stood on the podium for my country and now be able to be in the professional ranks. Just shows what can be achieved really, and it's important for me and the other girls that have just turned over, like Natasha Jonas and Nicola Adams and Katie Taylor and, you know, Hannah Rankin and Kelly Morgan. There's loads, Lauren Johnson, there's a lot now. Yeah, it's dead important for us to do that, and it shows others then, oh, that is possible for me, and that's how it grows. And, you know, I'm proud to be part of that group of pioneers that are going to hopefully push our sport forward.
And what's amazing about this is that little connection I mentioned with the Ricky Hatton for. You're training in Ricky's Hatton gym with one of his top trainers there, Blaine Eunice.
Yeah, Blaine was really the only person I wanted to coach me. Obviously, Dad's mentored me and guided me and coached me through my amateur career, and we've had we had an amazing journey together, going abroad and sharing the ABA title together. It was great, wasn't it? I mean, it's been fantastic, and just those precious times in the gym, not even those big moments like winning stuff, just messing about, sparring in the gym, and that's just, we're really fortunate to have shared that as father and daughter. So, it's been great, but obviously he's got my little sister Poppy, and he's got his MCing, as you said, and obviously a full-time job on top of that, so he's a pretty busy guy. So he wouldn't have the time to dedicate to do it, and so other than Dad, Blaine Eunice was the only person I really wanted to coach me, so I'm pretty lucky he said and so far it's been brilliant. I love working with him, and it's a privilege to have him as a coach.
It's a beautiful gym you're in as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice.
It's different from the other gyms that
you're probably a bit different to ours, which has got buckets underneath leaks and stuff, but it's a great, very fortunate to be able to train there. It's a great facility, and I'm really lucky to train there,
I'd like to say this video now, I don't know how can people get hold of it? Have we got some details that I can put up? Because it is for sale, isn't it?
It is for sale, it's price £5. I need to speak to Simon really as to how we can...
well, I'll get those details off you later and we'll put them up on the end of it. But I don't want to go too much into it because I don't want to spoil it for anyone, because it's a fantastic... But we will say it was injury that stopped your career.
It was.
And it's also gave you two the connection, because you've had two injuries that almost put an end to your professional career, which you've now started because that happened, but it put an end to your footballing career though, didn't it?
Yeah, and I was lucky to have, Dad who's so close to me as someone who could guide me through that, because I didn't know how to deal with it at the time, and I knew that he'd been through it, and I was miles away from home over in America when it happened, so it was even more isolating, but Dad was always on the end of the phone and there to give me advice. And obviously Dad, parents are supposed to give you advice and stuff, but I think why I'm really fortunate with my dad is that he doesn't just give you advice verbally, he leads by example, and most of the most important life lessons I've learned from him have been from him setting the example, not from stuff he's said. He does it, he lives it out, and by the way that he coped with that massive setback and that what must have been just an horrendous and devastating time when his career ended, he's gone on to be one of the best people I've ever known. I've never met anyone who don't like him other than his wives. And even they don't mind him. But and he's just an amazing person, so I'm really fortunate that I get to have him as my dad, really. I got pretty lucky with that one. So from his example, it helped me get through that myself.
You are spoiled with sport running through your blood, haven't you? Because your mother's a sports therapist. Your granddad is Roy, who's an ex-professional fighter, and everyone knows him. Everyone just knows him, don't they? Yeah. On the northwest scene, he's one of the most liked men in the world.
He's a real character, isn't he?
So it was a pleasure to watch, and I'll put the details up there. I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but it's emotional, isn't it? As well as happy with the ride going there. The end is very emotional.
How did it feel watching it all unfold on screen for you?
Well, it took me back in time to the acceleration of my career where everything was turning to gold, the highs and so forth, and then that devastating situation which ended my career, and then the lows that came from that. But the story, if you want to see it, it's emotional, it'll make you laugh, it'll make you cry, but at the end of it, what you get from it is an uplifting story about a father and a daughter who come through difficult times. Kind of mirror image of the same things that have happened to each other.
Not literally, obviously,
I'm obviously better looking than her.
Well, I think we'll leave it on there, because that's just how it is. It's a fantastic story, and if anyone wants to enjoy a good 45 minutes, then it's a fantastic watch.
And can I just say, if you do watch it, when he talks about leathering me and sparring, that's a lie. It's just not true. This was my doing, just saying.
Yeah, she ruined my career.
As a model.
Eddie, Stacey, it's been a pleasure.
Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lee.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Cheers.